Hey guys, back with another video. This time we're struggling with the toxicity of tip culture because it has definitely gotten out of hand. And this thread was the reason why I wanted to make this video, even if nobody watches it, because I feel like this shit needs to be addressed. Now, before I start my video, I want to say that I've been on obviously both sides of tipping culture. I've moved furniture and had to heavily rely on tips when I was moving furniture. I've had a couple, not a lot, I've had a couple of food service jobs working in the back of the house that we got to split our tips in between the front of the house and the back of the house, which for me, I never really needed the tips because we made way more than the front of the house. So I wasn't even sure why we were splitting tips in the first place, but yeah, so there's my little experience. And I am a chef. I've been doing this shit for ever since I've been able to work. So read some of these and I'm going to be commenting on it, but then I have some videos of people talking about tip culture. Started with this lady posting, it says, "This is so disrespectful. If you do this kind of tipping, stay home," which I think is fucking ridiculous. Like, why would you tell the people that's paying your bills to stay home and not come to your restaurant? That's the dumbest fucking thing you could do. I don't really agree with this lady. She's fucking stupid. Why would you post this? I don't understand why you would post something like this. Are you trying to make that person feel bad, or trying to make them, like, if they don't want to fucking tip, they don't want to tip. I do agree with the comments saying that, especially if their service fucking sucks. Some waiters don't deserve to be tipped. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. Not everyone deserves their tip. But if you are busting your ass and you are at a restaurant in a server position and you've done everything, you've extended yourself, you've bent over backwards, and you're left with a $5 tip on a $704 fucking bill, that's insane. That's insanity. Is it worth posting over it and crying about it? No. But it is pretty fucking ridiculous. So I want to read some of the comments. "I wouldn't tip a cent with that $108 service charge. The service charge doesn't go to her, you fucking idiot. Farmers grow and harvest the food. Truck driver drives for miles to deliver the food. Chef creates and prepares the food. The waiter after walking 10 feet for the food." And they have this picture. This one is another fucking stupid idiot, because if you think that all the waiter does is bring your fucking food to the table, you're even more delusional than this bitch up top. I'm just gonna be real with you. That's insanity. This one made me laugh. And then this one made me laugh too. It said, "Okay, hon, I'ma stay home like those eyebrows do." That had me rolling. That had me cracking the fuck up. Like, they was fucking cracking her in this fucking comment section. "The service charge is the tip," which it's not, you fucking dumb bitch. "Stop trying to rage bait if you don't understand how it works." Stop commenting it. And this got so many likes. It's not even fucking true. Like, that's why I'm making this video, because most of y'all are so fucking delusional. It's not even funny. Like, the companies, the restaurants, I don't care about other companies, but the restaurants pay what they can. And I know you guys are like, "Oh, that's bullshit, that's bullshit." Well, food service, there's not much profit on food, especially nowadays with high fucking prices. The prices of food has gone through the fucking roof in the last 2 to 3 years. It's gone through the fucking roof. So these companies and these restaurants, not only do they have to buy the food, but all of the equipment. Like, I don't think y'all understand how much it costs to buy the land, build the building, and then put all the expensive shit in the kitchen for us to utilize and cook and make shit happen. Like, all of that costs fucking money. We have $70,000 stoves. We have $30,000 refrigerators and freezers. We have so much expensive stuff that most of the owners are still paying for on a monthly payment plan. Not even joking around. Not even fucking kidding. So the fact that you guys are in the comment section talking about, oh well, you guys should just ask your employer to pay you more. Like, that's, come on now. They'd be out of business. They wouldn't make a fucking dollar if they paid us the amount of money we felt like we deserved. So that's where they spread out the burden of, okay, I can pay my employees this much, but hopefully if you come into the restaurant and you like the service, then you could help with that too, to help keep this going, to help keep our customers happy, to help keep everything going, like our workers, our servers. So, I mean, I don't necessarily agree that tipping, it definitely is not mandatory and should never be mandatory.
Is it just me, or has the tipping culture gotten so out of control? This is coming from someone that used to work in the restaurant business, but I just ordered Subway, went and picked it up myself, and they ask you if you want to leave a tip 2 different times. So then you look like a jerk when you say no.
When did the suggested tip percentages go up? Because I'm confused. Yesterday I went to a baseball game and I went to the food court to order some chicken tenders and fries, and when I went to swipe my card, it asked for a tip, and the minimum tip was 20%. It was 20, 25, or 30%.
Absolutely no hate to this girl, but I just want to address this from the other side as a former barista. I want to start out by saying the reason that a lot of places, including coffee shops, have that tip where they turn the iPad around and it's all the pressure on you, is because they're not paying their employees enough money. Like, there were times where I felt like I was not making enough money for the job that I was doing.
I agree that the tipping should be optional. You shouldn't be pressured into tipping. You shouldn't be like that. I don't like that.
And I relied on those tips. Because, seriously, completely honestly with you, half of my paycheck was tips. It should not be that big of a portion. Like, I should not be getting paid so little that half of my paycheck was tips. So just, please tip your barista. If somebody's doing a service for you, a waiter, your hairdresser, anybody's doing a service, please leave a tip. There's a reason we're asking for it.
I did not.
Now, I will say this. There's no, like, the pressuring the tip is fucking diabolical. Like, nobody should be pressured and feeling like they can't go out unless they have to tip. Like, it should not be mandatory. It should always be an option. So I do think that is complete bullshit.
I tipped my server last night. Here's why. I'm a firm believer if you can afford to go out to eat, you can afford to tip. However, if the service sucks, you shouldn't be required to tip. I think for the longest time I would tip regardless of how they treated me. But now that I can barely afford to go out to eat, I'm not gonna pay extra for service that sucks.
Can we normalize not?
Notice how that lady contradicted herself. She said at first she said she had enough money to go out. And then towards the end of the video she said, I barely can afford to go out now. Sounds like a you problem. That bitch definitely contradicted herself. She sounded hella stupid in that.
Tipping when a service worker is rude. Like, I feel really bad not tipping. I used to be a server. But, like, it's not hard to just be a decent human and, like, somewhat nice. Like, as a flight attendant, I deal with some of the most annoying situations, and when someone says thank you to me, no matter how annoyed I am, I either give them a little smile, or I say you're welcome, or sure, yeah, of course. No matter how annoyed I am, it's not that hard to just be like, you don't have to be overly nice, just not be rude. Like, recently I've had server experiences where they're just, like, blatantly really not nice, and then they turn the screen over to me and they want a tip.
Almost every single establishment that you walk into will ask for a tip at the end of the service. Like, I completely understand if you're a server or if your job relies on tips so that you can make your money. However, I was shocked that some of these places were asking for tips. So a month ago, I went to the thrift store, and this wasn't a regular thrift store. It was a second-hand thrift store. Not gonna lie, the prices were really expensive for it being a thrift store. Like, y'all know y'all bought them for like $2. Why are y'all selling them for 45? Anyway, I found a shirt. It was $45. I was like, whatever, I really like it. I took it up to the cash register. The guy let me know my total, and then he told me that there was a question on the iPad, and I was like, I already know what it's gonna say. I look at the iPad, and it's asking for a tip, and it didn't start at 15%. It said 20, 25, or 30% tip. I was like, I don't know about y'all, but I get anxiety, and I end up tipping. So I gave a tip on top of my $45 shirt. And then on top of that, I went to Crumble Cookie, and I went to the kiosk, and apparently now you can order your cookie yourself. So I took my own order, and at the end of the order, it asked me if I wanted a tip.
Tipping culture in America is out of control and it keeps getting worse. A few months ago, I was in Miami at this place called Pura Vida and I bought a cappuccino. When I went to check out, there was a mandatory service charge on my bill for $2. And I don't mind paying for good service and tipping for good service, but there wasn't even an option to tip the barista. It was a mandatory service charge. I thought mandatory service charges would be like the final boss of tipping, but I was wrong. They took it a step further. I was on Twitter today and I came across this photo of a tip screen where the no tip button is covered.
Now, this is the predatory shit that I'm talking about. Like, this is not okay. This is not okay. And that's coming from someone who's on the opposite side of this. This is never fucking okay. Like, this is why people hate tipping. This is why people think tip culture is fucking out of control. Because this right here just screams greedy and desperate, and we're going to take advantage of every customer that comes in here. I don't like that. I definitely don't agree with that bullshit. Straight bullshit.
And it says tip, thank you. If I saw this at a restaurant or a coffee shop, it would literally make me want to tip $0 so fast. I would rip the tape off of this screen and click 0 and walk away. Tipping is meant to be optional based on the level of service that I receive. And coffee shops and restaurants are moving to a point where you have to tip no matter what, which incentivizes bad service, which makes me not want to sit there and get good service anymore because it doesn't even matter how good the service is because the tip is all the same. Whenever I travel abroad to Europe, it's such a culture shock because when you finish a 3-course meal with fire service, great food, good wine, the receipt doesn't even give you the option to tip.
So I go to Ben and Jerry's.
But I don't really like the comparison that he did at the end. Like, this is America. If you like it so much over there, I feel like you could take your ass over there. But I do agree with everything else he said. That last little part was like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yesterday, and I just wanted a cone. Just wanted a nice, fresh, warm cone. So I walk over to the counter, and I was like, hi, can I just have a waffle cone? And she was like, yeah, sure. Here you go. That'll be $2. So I was like, okay. I go to put my card in, and of course, the tipping screen comes up. And I was like, I didn't say this out loud, but in my head, I was like, I'm not tipping you on a cone. You literally just handed me a cone. And I'm also like, the percentages were insane. I was like, I'm not tipping you $1 on a $2 cone that you just handed me. I'm not. So she hands me my cone. I put my card in. It gives me like, how much do you want to tip? I hit no tip. And the cashier goes to my face, to my actual face. Like, on no planet is that ever appropriate. Even if I got $100 worth of ice cream and I don't tip you, you can't to the customer. On top of that, Miss Girl, what were you expecting I tipped you to hand me a cone? There wasn't even a service being exchanged. It was an exchange. It was a transaction. It wasn't even an act of service.
Yeah, last lady, I 100% agree with her. That is complete bullshit. Like, if you act like that as a server, you don't even deserve your job at that point. I'm gonna just keep it 100. Like, go do something else. Go be somewhere else. Because that's fucking crazy. That's insane. Like, you can't expect to have a nasty ass attitude and everyone to just willingly give you tips, which is not fucking mandatory. I don't care what anyone says, tipping is not mandatory, nor should it ever be.
Not tipping anywhere where they ask me to tip before I experience the service. For example, I went and got a $9 smoothie the other day, and right when I was like ordering my smoothie, I was like, oh, I'll get the breakfast smoothie. Then they're like, okay, it's just gonna ask you a few questions. The answer is no. 1, y'all haven't made my smoothie. 2, I haven't tasted my smoothie. 3, I don't even know if I'm gonna like this smoothie yet. Why am I tipping? Like, I'm not tipping.
Tipping culture is not out of control. You guys are just assholes. Which is what I used to think until my parents were visiting me and their like air conditioning broke. So I drive my dad over to pick up the car. And he comes back with the keys, about to like walk over to where the car is, and he's kind of distraught, which is not like him. And he's like, I always tip, but I'm confused. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, I literally just paid, I don't know, $500 to have my car fixed. And then the guy swivels at the car mechanic, swivels the screen around and is like, you want to tip 20%, 25%, 30%. And he's like, I never don't push a button for a percentage to tip, but I didn't tip. Are we tipping car mechanics now? And I was like, no.
Tipping a mechanic, diabolical. I'd never do it. I don't give a fuck. You call me cheap, you call me broke, you call me whatever you need to call me, but there's no way in hell I'm tipping a mechanic. We don't even like mechanics, bro. Y'all be ripping us off in the first fucking place. Be saying, oh, you need this and that and this and that and this and that done, but in reality, you only need a couple of things done, and then before you know it, they are charging you $500 for a $30 fucking job and just keeping that. And I know that's not every mechanic's go-to, and that's not what every mechanic does, but don't be gullible and think that they don't rip you the fuck off, especially if you're a female. They do.
There is no reason I should be prompted to tip when I go through a drive-thru. I'm sorry, you work for your wage. I'm speaking as a bartender and server. There is no reason I should be prompted to tip in 55% of places that ask you to tip nowadays.
I will say I agree with a couple of things that this lady said. If you're going through a drive-thru, don't tip. Like, I would never tip going through a drive-thru. That's kind of diabolical. But everything else she said, not feeling it. Let's read some of the comments. It says, I literally hit no every time unless they are serving me. I don't care what they think. And yeah, I kind of get that. Like, if you're not serving, then like why are you expecting a tip? And why are these companies so greedy to the point to where they just feel like, oh well, the food industry and the restaurants do it, so we could do it too and pay our employees less. Like, no, this is how this shit's getting out of hand. Like, tipping is supposed to be exclusive for when you go to a restaurant, not fast food, not getting your nails done, not any of all that other bullshit. Like, because I feel like those people in those professions that go to school to be a nail tech and do shit like that and be a cosmetology and do hair and shit like that, you make bank. You make twice, maybe 3 times as much as a fucking server does. And then it says, I'm a teacher and now I want tips. Man, teachers deserve more than tips. I promise you that. The only time I tip is to my server at a sit-down restaurant or a nail tech. That's it. Nothing else needs a tip. Now, I kind of agree with her besides the nail tech. Nail techs make way too much money for them to have their hands out. I don't care. Like, bitch, I don't care. You make way too much money. I went to a store, retail, and at the cash register, she turned the damn iPad to me and asked for a tip. A tip for what? Now that I get. Like, if you're buying groceries, they trying to get tips from people buying groceries. Like, you want a tip for bagging shit up? That tip is, bitch, get a new job. Okay? They're trying to pass this new law, takes the taxes off of the tips so that it would, quote unquote, incentivize the workers to push harder for more tips. But this is just going to create more of the toxicity that we are seeing in our culture when it comes to tipping in general. It's just going to get more out of hand, and this is going to open the floodgates for even more companies to start tipping. And I don't like this. Like this, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like any of this. But yeah, that's the end of the video. That's all the slides that I have. That's pretty much my opinion on tip culture. I feel like at the end of the day, or tip should be optional. It should come from the kindness of people's hearts. And the more that we try to push this mandatory tip shit, the more people are not going to want to tip from the kindness of their hearts. So I think we need to fucking relax, like especially if you're the type of server or waiter who likes to embarrass the people who don't leave tips. Like I'll give you a small story that wasn't on here, but there was this lady on Instagram that was talking about, she was a waiter, by the way, and she was talking about how whenever somebody has a big, like whenever there's a big table, like 15 plus people, and one person pays for the bill, and she doesn't think the tip is big enough, she'll just take the cash tip out of the, she'll separate it from the actual money for the bill, and she'll bring it back to the person and be like, hey, I noticed that you left, I'll just give an example. I see that you left $5 on this $200 bill, and I just wanted to confirm that it was the right amount and this and that. And then she says, and then I'll drop the little change on the table so that everyone around can see how much of a cheap ass he is. And I'm like, nah, bitch, your service probably sucked, and everyone at the table was probably in agreement that that's how much you fucking deserved. But that's just me. I think it's gotten way out of fucking hand. If you are a waiter and you do shit like that, just know that you're part of the problem. And if you're someone who is in comment sections and coming with that mind state of like, I shouldn't have to tip anyone, then you should probably start cooking and doing your own shit by yourself. Just gonna be honest with you, because there's wrong on both sides. It's not just one side's wrong and one side's right. Both sides have a little bit of wrong, a little bit of right. And I've tried to unionize, and I've tried to stand up against toxic tip culture and waiters not making enough, and most of the times it results in people getting replaced, people getting fired. Nothing really ever happens. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried to get better wages and better work conditions for a couple of jobs that I had, and it never worked out for me. I mean, maybe I need more skills on how to unionize, but yeah, that's been my experience. So that's all I have to say on tip culture and its toxicity, and I hope that somebody will learn something from this, because we're out of fucking control right now, y'all. Like, America's going to hell in a handbasket.